Thanks for joining us for another edition of The Small Business Show with Cheyenne Malone, exclusively on ASBN.com.
Hi everyone, I'm Cheyenne Malone. You're watching another edition of The Small Business Show. Welcome. We have award-winning author, podcaster, founder, and CEO at Journey to Launch, Jamila Souffrant. Jamila, welcome. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Jamila has been featured on Good Morning America, and the New York Times, Money Magazine, and much more. And today we're going to talk about Jamila's newest book, Your Journey to Financial Freedom, a step-by-step guide to achieving wealth and happiness. I mean, I feel like there's not a person in the room that doesn't want to know more about that. So talk to us, Jamila. First, I want to hear a little bit more about your journey and where you come from and how you ended up where you are today.
Sure. So, really my starting point was a discovery or a self-discovery of wanting more freedom in my personal life. And I was stuck in this commute, working in this job I did not love. And I was doing that for a while, all throughout my 20s and just bearing it, making it work. And I was in my early 30s, pregnant with my first child, and realized that this was not the way. This was not going to be my life. I could not let this be my life forever. And I knew the way to find freedom was going to be through my finances, because had bills to pay, had a mortgage at this point. And so I seeked out and searched how to become financially free, how to quit my job early, and stumbled upon this concept called FIRE, Financial Independence, Retire Early, and went down that rabbit hole and have not looked back since, and was encouraged to start being more smart with my money, investing, saving so that I can exit the workforce. Started to share my journey online, being inspired by other people, and started Journey to Launch as a podcast. And a few years later, I was able to quit my job. I wrote a book, and now I'm helping people discover their journey to financial freedom and independence.
And is it safe to say you've been able to replace that income from your previous job?
Yes. So that's the thing. I think for me, what was important when I first started the journey was, how can I exit this in quickly and make as much money as possible, and maybe I'll work at this job as long as it takes. But what I discovered was, even if I quit my job and did not make as much, because entrepreneurship can be a bit risky,
Sure.
is that if I can buy back my freedom and have more options, that's what mattered most. And so I took that leap, not knowing where things would land. And now, fast forward a few years later, Journey to Launch is making as much, if not more. But it wasn't about the money to me. It was about the time freedom that being an entrepreneur provided me.
And Journey to Launch, your podcast. Tell us a little bit about that. What can we expect if we tune in?
Yeah, so Journey to Launch is a podcast that celebrates the journey to freedom. So it's not just about the destination and how much money you have accumulated or paid off. We talk about that. We talk about strategies and tips to pay off debt, invest. But we also talk about mindset and how we feel on the journey, how to make it more enjoyable. So there are solo episodes from me, and I also interview guests who are on the journey to financial freedom.
And you talk about in your book 5 journeyer stages. Break that down for us. What does that mean?
Right. When I first discovered financial independence, it was very overwhelming to think, this idea that you'd have enough money where you'll never have to work again. It sounds great, but I know a lot of people hesitate to start because of that. And so I broke down the journey in 5 stages so that anyone can identify where they are on the stage. So the first stage is the explorer stage. That is where you're working on becoming financially stable. The second stage is the cadet stage. That is where you're working on becoming consumer debt-free. The third stage is the aviator stage. That's where you're working on financial security. So this is where you can invest and save more. The fourth stage is the commander stage. That is where you have reached a level of work flexibility. That's the stage I'm in now. And stage 5 is the captain stage. That is where you reach complete financial independence.
And you call that the what stage?
The captain stage.
So you're smooth sailing is what you're going? I got the jokes too. Tell me about advice. People that are watching this, right? I feel like, money, it doesn't cure all, but a lot of people want to be in a position where they do have more financial freedom so they can enjoy quality time. Like you said, you had your first kid and you knew, I got to do something different here. What advice do you give to people like that are watching, and what can they do now?
Yeah, so it's really important to discover where you are. So I just gave 5 journeyer stages, and it's important to note that no stage is wrong. There's no shame in either stage, and there is freedom to be had within each stage. So discover where you are on the journey to financial independence. Where are you with your income, your expenses, your assets, your liabilities? Knowing those numbers are important because then you can help determine where you want to go. So is your goal complete financial independence, or is it becoming work flexible where you can take time off of work? So what is that end point and what is your starting point? And then we can begin to craft strategies to help you achieve your goals.
Any key takeaways you want to share? Any teases from the book?
Yeah, so I talk about that the journey to financial independence, it is external, right? There are these things we have to do: earn more money, be smart with our budget, create a budget, invest, save, and all those things can, take action and are external things we do. But I believe that the journey is also internal, and it has a lot to do with our mindset, how we feel about ourselves, our self-worth, how we feel about money. It has a lot to do with our habits. What are we doing on a day-to-day basis to help us move us forward? And so while it is important to do the strategies and the action-filled things that are external, I do believe that the journey starts within, and to sit down and really think, what do you want from your life? How do you feel about money? What are some blocks that you need to let go of or improve upon to help you reach your goals?
Was it hard to pull away from corporate America and your normal job situation? And like you said, you had your first baby. Was that? I mean, obviously it's a risk.
Oh, it is. And by the time I quit, I was on my third child.
Oh.
So I decided to quit. And I didn't go back to my job after my maternity leave because I decided that it was more important to have the flexibility and options than to be completely, financially independent. And so it wasn't easy to walk away. I was the breadwinner in terms of my income, brought in most of the money for the household. My husband is a teacher. And so to walk away from that trajectory of income into the unknown was scary. But I also knew that this was my chance. And this is what I talk about in the book and in my content, is that you're the hero of your journey. You're the hero of your story. And it's going to require something different from you to take risk, calculated risk, smart risk, especially if you have a family and, bills that you have to pay. But that doing something different to achieve a different life is the way to do that. And so you have to step out on a limb and take the leap in order to make sure that you live that life that you're dreaming of.
I was going to ask any final thoughts, but maybe that's it.
Well, the only thing I'd say is that the journey to financial independence, complete financial independence, is a marathon. It's not a sprint.
Sure.
And my big thing for people is that you don't have to be deprived on your way there. Yes, there will be hard work. There'll be some sacrifices, but it doesn't have to be complete deprivation, and you can enjoy your journey too. And so it's your journey to choose from what you focus on and to really enjoy it. It's your life.
I respect that because I feel like there's certain things you want to indulge in here and there, and it makes the journey more fun and not like work. Jamila Souffrant, author, award-winning podcaster, founder, and CEO at Journey to Launch. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you for having me.
And thank all of you for watching The Small Business Show exclusively right here on ASBN.com and now streaming on Roku, Fire TV, and Apple TV.
Thanks for joining us for another edition of The Small Business Show with Cheyenne Malone, exclusively on ASBN.com.